Now, isn't this the craziest popcorn bucket you've ever seen? Personally, I love Jurassic Park. It is one of my favorite franchises of all time. You know, where Star Wars made me dream about the sky, Jurassic Park made me dream about the dirt. I just love dinosaurs, extremely fascinated by them, and I have Jurassic Park to thank for that. Unfortunately, you know, as the years went on and there's been more Jurassic Park sequels, you know, I've liked them less and less and less and less and less and less. But I heard going into this new one that Steven Spielberg was working with David Koepp to make a new Jurassic World movie. Amazing, right? I mean, the Lost World wasn't the best. There are some cringe moments in it, but I heard from David Koepp that he wanted to stay away from those kind of moments in this new one. And I gotta say, after watching Jurassic World Rebirth, I believe this is a huge step in the right direction. Unfortunately, there is a huge asterisk next to that step. Because while this movie kind of like strips down the whole world, cloning, everything that kind of bloated the story with all the sequels, this movie gets down to just the characters, no major themes, a simplified story, more dino action, more thrills, more horror. You know, this is a great step for the Jurassic franchise. And this film follows the story of these InGen employees, the people they hire, and a family. And while this family, when they're introduced, honestly kind of annoyed me, their interactions with InGen, how they're like complaining and on edge, it eventually turns out that I really actually enjoyed this family. And I think the movie would have been better if it focused on this family and they run into InGen with these hired people, and then we can get their backstories through like quick little dialogue, which is another part where I feel like the beginning was a little long, a little bloated, like hiring these people, setting up, going on the adventure. I would rather have seen them already going on the adventure, you know, not the setup to them going on the adventure. I know they had a lot to deal with, you know, finishing the story of the old Jurassic World so that we can move forward, but a lot of that dialogue we could have got in like offhand remarks, you know, their actions and how they treat the new family when they're first introduced together, because this story is really a personal story. There is an overarching story, but I think that just kind of takes a backseat mostly, and by focusing too much on the story that's never really addressed, it's kind of like we have a lot of things going on. We have all these characters with all their different missions, all their different stories, why they're doing what they're doing. We could have simplified the story even more to just the family and InGen and them ending up on this island and trying to survive, and how their dynamics work together, how they try to and try not to help each other. And I think that would have ended up a little better. But that's not necessarily what's wrong with this film. A lot of what I felt what's wrong with this film is the major deja vu. Because in trying to get the experience, get the same reaction from the audience as they did when they saw the original, they ended up repeating a lot that happens in the original Jurassic Park. And I just found myself watching this and being like, well, there's some interesting good moments, but those are moments that also happened in Jurassic Park, and I know exactly what's going to happen going forward. This is the exact same. People's motivations for their actions are the exact same, and exactly what they do and their actions they take are the exact same as the first Jurassic Park. So it's a lot of deja vu, you know. Even some of the cinematography is exactly the same, and it's like, okay, I know we've seen this exact shot, we've seen this exact thing before, and this would be great if it was, you know, new and fresh, but it's literally just the original Jurassic Park again, which is not bad. You know, Jurassic Park's a great movie. I got this thing, okay, it's a great movie. But the thing with like nostalgia is it was great when we first watched it because it was new. It was something we haven't seen before. But when you like bring back nostalgia, it's nice. It's nice. Oh, I remember that. But you're taking away an opportunity to create another great moment. And there are so many opportunities to have great moments in this movie. but they're kind of like overshadowed because, hey, I've seen this before. The last time this happened, 20 something years ago, that was great. And it's just a little frustrating because, it could have been a movie that, you look back in 20 years and be like, wow, they really did something here. But rather, it's going to be like, wow, they really went back to square one. Which is not bad. We were on a square we didn't even want to be on with Jurassic World Dominion and the other sequels. But it's a nice, fresh take coming off of those last sequels. Overall, I'd give it 3.5 stars out of 5. But there are a few spoilers I want to talk about, so let's get into that. We finally got the boat scene! Yes! Yes, I don't know if people were anticipating this, people wanted to see this. I've been wanting to see this for decades now. We finally got the riverboat with the T-Rex. I'm glad they kept it the T-Rex. And it was great. I thought this was a magical part of the film. It's definitely a memorable part of the film. The action, the pacing, the twists. I think it's going one way, it goes another way. Overall, I see why it wasn't put in the first Jurassic Park. I mean, it's its own set piece, it's its own storyboard, and honestly, I don't think Spielberg really wanted to approach an animatronic in water again. So that's probably why it was truly cut, but it was nice to see this scene. The only problem is the very end of the scene. You see the T-Rex and its head goes through the 2 pillars and it can't fit through. It just, to me, it looks so fake, and it's the CGI thing again. I know that if this was 93 and they tried to make the scene, that would have been an animatronic's head, a giant puppet's head of a T-Rex, and it would have been realistic. It would have been terrifying. Even as an audience member, it would have been terrifying. And I don't want to say that, oh, you need top CG to make a good film. Obviously, you don't. At this point, we're dealing with dinosaurs, we're dealing with life and death, we're dealing with high stakes, and honestly, Jurassic Park was one of those movies that pushed forward innovation in animation and CGI. And to be looking at this and feeling like, man, that was fake. CG feels like it's gone nowhere in the past 10, 15 years. I mean, how cool would it have been if that T-Rex pushed its head right through those pillars and it was photorealistic? I mean, that would have, just that little change, I think, adds a lot to it. That's something I realized when I was like, this scene could have been in Jurassic Park, but it's in Jurassic World, and now we're doing more CGI. But it just makes me wonder, like, we just have a bunch of CG here. How much more of an impact would this movie have felt if the dinosaurs were photorealistic? And it reminds me of the part where they get to the long-necked dinosaur scene in Jurassic World, and they're just standing in awe. And that reminds us of exactly, Jurassic Park, the original, when they see the Brachiosaurus and they're just in shock and awe. And it's more than just the characters being in shock in the original Jurassic Park. That was more of us as well as an audience. We, the audience, are seeing these dinosaurs, seeing these CG dinosaurs, realistically seeing these CG dinosaurs. And it's such an excellent shot by Spielberg back then, knowing that we have to hold here because it's not just for these actors, it's not just for the characters in this film, it's for us, the audience, to admire all of this that's being put on display. The incredible advancement in technology to see these dinosaurs, technology for us seeing them, and technology for the characters in the world that these things are actually real to them. And it's a beautiful blend. But when you do that in Jurassic World and we don't have really, great looking realistic dinosaurs, and we're just looking at characters in this movie, look at CG, and it's like we're just looking at them and we're not really getting that same experience. And it's more like if we feel anything there, it's just because of nostalgia. We've seen this before, and it's not magical. Because that was probably one of the most magical shots in Jurassic Park, and it's lost any meaning because it's not photorealistic. It doesn't seem like it's actually there. If they built a giant animatronic, like 2 giant animatronic dinosaurs, maybe that would be different. Of course, that is probably a waste of money. But at least give the CG artists like 6 more months to nail that scene, to make it look like the most realistic thing you've ever seen. And I think it would have had a way greater impact. Because without that, it's just like nostalgia. And then we get to the scene where it's like the bad guy, he's driving to the docks with the dinosaur DNA, and he's trying to get to the boat to escape the island. But this scenario is exactly Jurassic Park. I mean, I could be describing Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Rebirth. I mean, literally the same scenes. ending happened in Jurassic Park as well with the flare, and it's just a lot of scenes. This could have been great. It could have been great if there was originality in it, and it reminds me a lot of Alien Romulus. I know a lot of people like that, but scene after scene, beat after beat, cinematography, there's so much that was similar to all the previous Aliens. It was like, I know exactly what the next shot is. Like, exactly the next shot of the movie. And it's like, okay. We're getting a little too meta here. If it's for a brand new audience, great. You get to show them new classics, but why are we making movies for new audiences, or are we making movies that show us another world? You know, something that's actually happening. I mean, things can happen twice. History repeats, but at some point it becomes obvious, okay, we're just nostalgia baiting, and we're taking opportunities that could have been great, and we're just saying, hey, instead of making something original here, let's make it the original. It's just a little sad that, you know, it could have been great. You know, we could have remembered the boat scene. We could have remembered the ending, however it could have been, if there was originality to it. And, you know, it was a good step in the right direction as far as the story goes. Simplify it to just the main characters, how they're dealing with loss. And I think the action scenes were good. The dinosaur, the big one, the D-Rex, woo, insane, kind of crazy. I wonder if we'll see them in the future or something. But they're going to keep on making these movies. I just hope they keep the vibe, they keep the story small, simplified, not some giant world scale. Get the characters to interact a little bit more. We had not that much interaction between the family and InGen. I feel like almost in a way that the family should have lost their mom. That way they could connect with Scarlett's character in the same way, because she lost her mom, and there could have been something maybe there. That's why they were taking a family trip, because they wanted to be closer as a family. But that wasn't really the case there. That's just my own thing. I don't know. Who knows if that would have been good or not. But yeah, I'm looking forward to a sequel. I wish they would have called this something different. You know, we had Jurassic Parks, we had Jurassic Worlds, maybe Jurassic Islands. Jurassic Island. It doesn't really roll off the tongue, but something to differentiate this. Yeah, I liked it. Just, I wish we had more original moments in this. But thanks for stopping by, and hope to see you again soon.